Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, and joining me, as always, is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone Season 2, Episode 21. It's called The Prime Mover. So, full spoilers for the episode as always. And it's so funny how if Rod Serling doesn't come out and tease what the next one is, even though I still read the description, I completely forget what the next one's going to be. And it was only once it started for a little bit, I'm like, oh, that's right, I remember joking it was another gambling episode, and we were worried because the fever wasn't that good. So,
Yes.
here we are. Yes.
And wouldn't you know it, a returning character showed up from the fever.
Did they?
Yep.
Who?
The slot machine. It's the same one.
Oh, is it? Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
you're making me want to go check it, like, side by side, like, to get the magnifying glass out.
No, it's the same one. I checked.
Hey, hey, they got to save money on those props. Twilight Zone ain't a big budget show. They had to find a way.
I know. Though there is a really cool car crash scene.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and not even that. Even the locations in this one felt a bit more diverse because it was like,
Yeah.
we've got this diner where the story starts off, and then it goes to Vegas and the hotel room, and it felt like there was a lot more variation in the visuals this episode.
Maybe it's all that money they saved from those videotape episodes. They splurged on this one.
It's very possible. I mean, I think obviously the shots of like the Vegas neon lights are probably just stock footage, but even that adds a bit of production value to the overall thing.
I suspected that car crash scene wasn't filmed for the Twilight Zone also.
Very possibly. But they did have a car upside down that then moved because obviously one of the other main plot aspect here is that one of the main characters has telekinesis, and the gambler who's an addict, when he discovers this, because there's this car crash outside the diner, and the guy with telekinesis chooses to save the people in the car by turning it over. The gambler's like, I've got an idea. I mean, there's a little bit of build up to that where he actually tests it with like some dice and a coin, and then he's like, I've got a great idea. We're going to be rolling in it. And then that takes him to Vegas, and where the rest of the plot plays out. So that's the gist of the episode. He also works with his girlfriend. I actually assumed they were kind of like engaged based on some of the dialogue before that, but he doesn't actually propose to her till the end. So I guess just long-term relationship is maybe what they're in. But that is the prime mover in terms of general premise. Tara did so. Loaded question here because the fever is notably one of the weaker episodes of season 1. I think it's the weakest episode of the show, but it's definitely one of the weaker episodes. How did you feel about the prime mover?
I thought it was okay. It was fun to watch, but it's not a particularly great episode. Buddy Ebsen is the star of this also, and it was fun to see him because I love the Beverly Hillbillies, which he was Jed Clampett in, the star. And actually, this is the second episode of season 2 that had a Beverly Hillbilly star in it. Jed Clampett in this one, and then Ellie Mae Clampett was in Eye of the Beholder. Fun fact. There might have been more too. There might have been like Mr. Drysdale or something.
Yeah, he plays Jimbo, who has the telekinesis. The gambler's Ace, who's played by Dane Clark. Yeah, it's kind of okay. Like, it's one of those things where it's enjoyable enough because the cast are got enough charisma to kind of sell it and just be kind of fun to watch. But ultimately, as far as Twilight Zone plots go, it's not really that exciting. The telekinesis isn't as fun as it should be, especially once it's used for gambling. It's just kind of like, oh, the dice landed the way he wants them to. Oh, whoop to do. I mean, I will say this though, it has kind of a positive ending in that he learns the error of his addicting ways and makes the choice to just be normal and proposes to his girlfriend. So it's actually got kind of a happy ending to the whole thing.
Yeah. After he loses everything. It's hard to say that you lose all the money that you've won while gambling, though.
Yeah.
Have you really lost it? It was never really yours.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had to start with something, but I mean, so he lost maybe like the $5 he started with. Like, it's not that big
I think
a
they
deal.
start with 100.
Oh, is it 100 to start with?
Yeah. Which is a significant chunk of change.
Yeah. Especially since he's down in his luck and they're struggling with the rent and stuff.
And it's like the 60s, so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But ultimately, like, he wins like 200 grand through gambling, I actually, I kept thinking as I was watching, I got a little bit frustrated. I'm like, you know what? Intentionally lose one once in a while, because it's a bit suspicious that you're winning every single role.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I was thinking that
exactly.
too.
Yeah. But especially once, because the plot takes him in the second half where he phones up this gangster, this notorious gambler who's in town, and wants him to come in and play a private game, and he's winning every dice roll, and it's like, he's a gangster. At least pretend that it's it's what maybe 1 in 3 you're winning. Lose a little.
Yeah, I'm surprised the gangster just kept letting him go. Like, yeah, go ahead, do one more.
Yeah.
I don't think the gangster ever plays. He just watches him win all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. If anything, at the end when he loses everything because he bets everything he has, he goes all in on the final dice roll and then loses, which you can kind of see the ending coming. It's kind of weird that the gangster was willing to even take that bet, because at that point he's won like 50 times in a row. Why would you even accept that bet?
I guess, well, maybe if he's like, well, I'm just going to kill him anyway if he wins.
That's a fair point.
I like when the gangster like first walks in with his cronies.
Yeah, his entourage.
his entourage, and like immediately you can kind of see that Ace, our gambler friend, like sort of realized that, oh, I'm actually in a dangerous situation. I kind of got over my head here. Well, might as well make it count. He's like, do you eat? Are your friends hungry? And they're like, and it's like, my bodyguards, they don't eat. And then it pans over them and they're all these giant men. I'm like, they don't eat, huh?
I think the other part of the episode here that I think's important for the heart of it is that Ace gets more unlikable as the episode goes on. The more he's winning, the worse he gets. Eventually his girlfriend doesn't want to be there anymore and wants to go back home and leaves. And he immediately just like pays the girls selling cigars to just like be his date, and it feels really kind of sleazy and scummy.
Yeah, because then her boss comes by, her manager, and is like, hey, you can't just like leave your cigarettes here or something, or peanuts. And then the Ace is like, oh, I bought her for the night. That's okay, right? And then he gives him money like he's her pimp. It's kind of gross.
Yeah. Not that she's really that likable herself, because when he loses the money, she just immediately leaves. I mean, admittedly, the reason why she was there in the first place is she was being paid. So I suppose he's not dependable employment anymore. So I suppose that's fair. But so it's like, so I mean, I guess if I have a complaint is that it doesn't necessarily feel like maybe the episode really gets across that he's learned his lesson. Now it does a little bit, because when they lose everything and the gangsters leave with all the money, him and the telekinetic friend Jimbo, they basically just start laughing, and it's almost like they realize what they've been through. But when he proposes to his girlfriend at the end, and she does the whole thing where she tosses a coin to answer but doesn't let him see the response, and you kind of assume that it didn't matter which way it landed. She was just playing a little joke for because of his history, and he's gotten rid of the gambling machine, the one-armed bandit, and she says yes. Part of me was thinking, as soon as he had some money, he did try and just find another woman and pay her off. Like, I feel like he's not really deserving of a yes here, to be honest. And don't get me wrong, I get the idea that he realized that he was a bad person when he was like, given into his addiction, and this was him realizing that he's better off not being chasing the win, chasing the high. But I don't know, I felt like maybe a little bit more of a real awareness of that, but just a little bit more of a kick.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little bit like, well, it's kind of a bad situation for her.
Yeah, and she doesn't even know, which I guess is why she is willing to say yes. But it makes me, as an audience member, I'm like, no, but I know what he did, so I'm kind of like,
but he's gross.
Yeah, he's kind of a scumbag.
Yeah.
Also, could we talk about how Rian Johnson stole the ending of this for The Last Jedi?
Oh yeah, didn't even think about that. That's funny.
Because during the game with the gangster, eventually Jimbo's like, hey Ace, we need to talk about this. I need to talk to you for a minute. And Ace is just really, no, we're going to play one more one more round. This is the last one. Because
he's ignoring him. I think Jimbo's also upset that this Sheila girl from downstairs is just in their room now, and he's like all over her, but all of a sudden like Kitty doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, he's also in pain. Yeah, Jimbo definitely seems to have more of a conscience, but he's also in pain because the more he uses his powers, the more of a headache he gets. And he's basically what he's trying to tell him is that his powers have gone, that he can't do it anymore, and then that's when he loses. So the ending, we think he's lost his powers, and like it's when they're not looking, he brings it back up, and it's like no. He's realized that he has to keep them secret. He has to let Ace think he doesn't have them because it's too dangerous. what he's going to want to do with him's too dangerous. It's actually kind of similar to Mr. Dingle the Strong. Like, he discovers that his friend has telekinetic abilities, and his one idea is to let's go cheat gambling so he can make money.
Yeah. Or like the guy who what is it called? What You Need, I think was the name of the episode, where the guy has a case that has anything that you need in it. If you need like a shoe or something because you'll step in gum in like the next few minutes and you'll need to have another shoe. Do you remember that episode?
Yeah, it's the one that ended with the guy.
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of like that.
You
and
don't
like,
need anything because you're going to die. It was the kind of the ending of it.
Right, you'll need this towel, and the towel, or you'll need scissors because your scarf will get caught in the elevator shaft. You have to cut yourself out.
Oh yeah, that was a super goofy scene. That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, it kind of reminds me of that because the person who discovers that this guy has this ability tries to exploit it instantly, and he's not a likable guy. But in this one, even though I mean Ace isn't really likable after what he does with the Sheila, but it's still, I don't know, it
has a happier
still
ending
has
overall.
more of a happier tone.
At the very least, it feels like he's kicking his addiction, so maybe he's on a path to being a better person. And you know, and Jimbo, who has the power, has kept it a secret. He can still save people if the occasion rises, but he's keeping it to himself. But he picks up the broom again with his powers, which is exactly the ending of. I mean, I don't even think that's much of a spoiler for The Last Jedi. It's so out of context, but there's a broom moment, I should say.
Someone uses the Force on the broom.
Yes, there's a broom. And I actually started laughing because obviously, like, I've seen season 1 and 2 before, but it's been a long time, so I've forgotten a lot of the episodes. So obviously the first time I saw this was before Last Jedi existed, so it never was a thing. But this time watching it, the broom comes up, and I just started giggling to myself because it's the end of the
I didn't even think about it, but yeah, you're right.
I was like, he watched Twilight. He totally did. Ryan Johnson was such a Twilight Zone watcher. He has that
Well, all
written
the
all
good
over.
ones are.
I mean, that's true. I'm not saying that as an insult. But he definitely watched. We'll ask him what his favourite episode is. He'll say, like, oh, it's Eye of the Beholder. I'm like, no, I think it's the Prime Mover, Ryan. I'm on to you. I've seen that episode. Oh, dear. But
I'll ask him next time I see him.
It's a very... Is this because
I went to his skater once.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes.
With the Q&A.
Yeah, me and Ryan are on a first name basis.
We're basically friends. We were in the same room together with 700 other people.
Yeah, 5,000 other people. Yeah, nothing else. No, it's an okay episode. I think the actors make it a bit more entertaining. I have to admit though, like, there's not a lot to it in terms of drama because I feel like you know exactly where it's going pretty early, and even the ad break in this episode kind of happens at just a nothing moment where they're going back up to the room, and then after the ad break it's just them entering the hotel room, and it's like there was no hook there was no nothing, or like sort of, and I would say that once again, just to sort of hammer this point home, and I feel like I'm belittling someone by doing this, but once again this episode does not have a twist, right? Just want to make that very clear. There's no twist in this episode.
No, there's not. And it is nice to have an episode where a guy who's being an asshole gets his comeuppance. Yeah,
and kind of doesn't turn into more of an asshole because of it. He kind of just accepts it and goes, I was being a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
I could have hammered that point home a little bit more, but it was okay. Probably not a super memorable episode, though.
No, I don't think so. It was good to see Buddy Epson. Yeah,
I don't know who that was, but you were very happy.
I was.
Yeah, so Rod Serling did come out at the end and tell us about next week's episode, and next week...
I know that you are very upset about it.
Well, not really, because it's the last one.
Okay.
So the next episode is a videotape episode. You can tell as soon as Rod Serling appears, I say, "Oh my god, what's this UHF nonsense?" It's like, static,
Hey, UHF is a good movie.
Haven't seen it, but
it's Weird Al. It's Weird Al's film.
I knew that, but I don't really know much about Weird Al Yankovic, but I knew that was his movie. So episode 22, which is coming next time, is called Long Distance Call. And here's a description on IMDb. A toy telephone becomes the link between a young boy and his dead grandmother. It's
pretty long distance.
Not a bad concept. All things considered.
Is Billy Mummy in it?
Oh, he is. Is it not? Is it not Billy Mummy? It's only one M. Well, two M's technically.
I
'cause
don't know,
the
I
first
always
one.
say Billy Mummy, but
Yeah. Yeah, you may be right. I just because it's only one M instead of the two. Later in the word, I mean, next to each other. Not obviously.
Right.
There's still two because the one at the start, but
there's 2 instead of 3.
yeah, there's two instead of three. Yes, is what I'm saying. There's a missing M. It's
Yeah.
the mystery of the missing M. Oh, that's a good title for a kids' book.
Noted.
Yes, when I start my children's
Change
book author
career.
career. Yes. I love the idea of writing a children's story, but just having tons of swearing in it. So it's not really for kids, but it reads like a kid's book, just with lots of F-bombs.
Isn't that kind of what Sausage Party was?
Okay, you've
It
ruined
looks
the
like-
idea.
It
There's
looks
no-
like a kids movie, but it's for adults.
I guess you've ruined the idea for me now, because now you're comparing me to some stupid thing with Seth Rogen in it.
Yep.
So, thank you for making me feel ashamed of everything I've ever believed in.
It's my job. That's why I'm here.
So that's Long Distance Call. Look forward to that next time. Tara, do the outro.
Thank you for watching. I hope you guys liked it. If you have any comments of your own on this episode, please leave your thoughts down below. And like and subscribe if you like the content, because that helps us reach more people and helps the channel grow and makes us feel warm and fuzzy. Mildly fuzzy.
You're doing so well, surprisingly. God, keep going.
All right. Yeah, and if you want to support in other ways, like financial support, you can check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/MildFuzzTV, and if you donate as little as $1 per month, you will get access to these episodes of the Twilight Zone reviews 1 week early. So you get to be ahead of the game. And if you donate a little bit more, then you'll get access to voting rights for other shows we do, and yeah, extra warm and fuzzy. Thank
And
you.
you'll actually get the episodes a week early, unlike the dollar tier that Tara lied about a minute ago.
Whoops.
Otherwise, it was perfect. That was the one flub. Honestly, I thought you were going to crash and burn right at the start and not know what to do. You actually did a fantastic job of that first part that you've never done before.
Thank you.
No, give up, Tara.
I've only heard it like 100 times.
Yeah, that was solid. Although you did say if you want to support us in other ways, like say financially, and it made me immediately go, "Well, what else is there? Like, what's these other ways?"
There's emotional support. That's a big one.
Yeah. If you want to hire like a plane with a message, like fly over to give us free advertising, yeah, which I guess is also financial in a way, but it's.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is us. Thank you once again for watching or listening. Actually, you should be doing this last part as well. There you go. I said do the outro. You're doing the whole thing.
Yes. Thank you very much, and keep watching TV in the Twilight Zone.